This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by PureVPN. When you're browsing the internet, you want to protect your identity there as well. And a product like PureVPN is a great way to do that because it obfuscates your browsing, both from Google and Facebook, as well as from your ISP. Plus, if you're away from home, you want to be able to use a location-based service, you can use the VPN to report that you are back in the US and you can still watch Hulu, that type of thing. And they're running some great deals right now, and to find out about those deals, you can go to piltchpoint.live/purevpn. All right, and before I sneeze, here, Avram, because it's coming. What have you got for us this week?
All right, so I want to talk about some positive stuff going on. Maybe not all over the world, but right here. So, you know, as longtime listeners know, we do at Tom's Hardware, which is my day job. We do a lot of, and we've been increasing the amount of coverage we do of Raspberry Pi projects and news because it's very popular and it's just a lot of fun. So we've started to highlight the top new projects that people have done each month, and you know, provide resources where you can do them yourself. And also we've got some projects that people can do with their kids. So if you go to tomshardware.com this week, you'll see our list of the top 10 Pi projects of May. These include a connected garage door opener, where someone has taken a Raspberry Pi Zero, connected it to the motors that control their garage door, and had it actually like log garage door opens, which is kind of funny. Someone has taken a Raspberry Pi and turned it into a fitness trainer that uses image recognition. So it looks at your workout and it gives you advice. Like, I don't know, if you do a yoga pose, like you did it wrong, using image recognition.
Oh, like Xbox Fitness.
Yes. The project is known as called HIIT Pi, HIIT space PI.
Nice.
Another project someone did was a toilet paper claw that picks up rolls of toilet paper. I guess. Another is an automated drink mixer, because you need a robot bartender.
And you don't want to buy the one from Keurig.
Yes, or the one, whenever we go to Las Vegas, they always have this like restaurant that has a robot bartender.
The one,
another cool project.
The one at Planet Hollywood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I never have drank there. One of the most popular stories that we did, projects that we covered this month, was from a 15-year-old guy who lives in India. It is called the Raspberry Pi PC Hardware Stats Monitor. And what it does is you connect it to your computer, and it gives you, on a separate screen, gives you information about what your PC is doing, such as the temperature, the CPU speed, the fan speed, how much of your RAM is in use, and a very attractive looking UI. So it's like, you know, if you want to see what your PC is doing, you can do that project. And another one that a lot of people really enjoyed reading about when we wrote about the first time is making your Raspberry Pi operating system look like Windows XP. Someone has come out with a version of the Raspberry Pi operating system, Raspbian, and made it look just like Windows XP. If you miss Windows XP, I don't miss it that much. It was nice in its day.
Was it though?
So these are all. I mean, in its day.
That weird blue.
It was okay.
That weird blue taskbar. I don't know.
So I'm going to show folks on the if those who are watching the video feed. Ooh, you can't see the rainbow colors in the camera because it's all blurry. That I'm showing here a Raspberry Pi that has the official Pi Sense hat on it, and what the Sense hat does is, mind you, it seems for some reason that when I boot this up and it is not connected to a monitor, the light does not turn off, which is weird. But I do it connected to a monitor, no problem. So little weird. Anyway, so what the Sense Hat does is, here I'll unplug it, is it allows you to, it's a really cool thing to put onto your accessory. It's like $30 for your Raspberry Pi. This is like what a Raspberry Pi looks like without it, and then you just put it onto the 40 GPIO pins up here, and it gives you a bunch of capabilities that are great for doing projects with your kids. And my son, who's 8, and I were playing with it this afternoon. First of all, there's this light matrix that's 8x8 8x8 LED lights that you can make, like, do all kinds of cool things, like scroll words and, you know, messages, draw pictures. But it's called a Sense Hat, not a lighting hat.
So you can control each one individually as a pixel?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, correct. You can draw on it, you can make animations, and you can very easily make it have a scrolling message. What my son was actually doing with it earlier, and you can program it in Scratch, Scratch 3 to be exact, which is a popular programming language for kids because it's block based and you drag the blocks around. But you can also program it in Python and do some more things with it. The light part of it is you know, the coolest looking part, but it is not the part that makes it be called the Sense Hat. It has a bunch of sensors on it. So it has a temperature sensor, it has a humidity sensor, it has, I think, a pressure sensor. It has an accelerometer that reacts if you tilt it, and it has a little joystick on it. All these things you can use together to do cool projects. This Sense Hat, not this one in my hand, of course, it has been on the International Space Station as part of what they call the Astro Pi project, where kids actually have submitted programs to be run on a Raspberry Pi that lives on the International Space Station. But we've got an article about on Tom's Hardware about some of the really neat sort of beginner projects that you and your kids can enjoy with a Raspberry Pi and the Sense Hat. One is to actually program the accelerometer so that you can use this as a controller to control a character on screen. Another is to have it change color based on the temperature in the room. So if it's too hot or if it's too cold, it turns blue, and if it's too hot, it turns red. Another, you know, is to just use the joystick to control things. One thing that my son and I did is he's been working on a game, a really simple game in Python using a library called Pygame, which allows you to make you know, really easy games. And this is one where you drive a car around, you try to avoid obstacles, and you could get hit by an obstacle. And he made it so that if you crash, it says on the screen, "You crashed." Scrolls by. So he worked this into the game. You know, granted, you know, it's just kind of cute. I have a project actually that I am working on, but I'm still looking for some advice for folks who would have some, where I want to make a Raspberry Pi hand washing timer. And I think I could possibly put the output of the timer, like the count down or count up, to 20 seconds, use on this LED grid. I mean, obviously I could also put it, an actual screen on, or an e-ink display. Would probably use less power than this, but I'm just thinking about how a person might trigger the hand washer, because I don't want to have it be done via buttons, because I guess, you know, your hands are dirty or germy or whatever. You don't want to touch the device. So if you put this behind your sink or above your sink, and you wanted it to count that 20-second countdown, so you know you've washed your hands for long enough to disinfect them, what would be your way of turning it on? Would it be like a noise, like clapping, or motion detection? Um, Theoretically, it could detect the humidity from the sink, but that seems like kind of imprecise. Like, what if you're using the sink for something else, or it's still humid after you turn the sink off? So, I don't know. I'm kind of looking for the right the right interface for turning it on, whether it's a sound-based one or a motion-based one, that would not involve actually touching it. And then I'm looking for how would I get this in a water-resistant case so that if somebody splashes from the sink, it doesn't destroy their Raspberry Pi. So
interesting.
But that is a project I feel like I could do with the Sense Hat, possibly. And so I really encourage people to check out some of the cool projects that people did for May 2020 Raspberry Pi projects on tomshardware.com. And we also have separately an article on 3 really elementary articles you can do with your kids using the Sense Hat.
Interesting. Okay, so I am thinking, obviously this is way more work, but you could there is a compatible from our friends at Adafruit. There is a water flow sensor that works with the Raspberry Pi.
Yeah. So I guess you could do that, but keep in mind there's a lot of times you use the sink for things other than doing a regular hand washing.
Yeah.
Like what if it's the kitchen sink, you're washing dishes, you don't need the countdown for that. So,
sure.
So I think you'd have to have a person initiate it.
Yeah, true.
But it's something I've been thinking about for a few weeks because I haven't seen anybody else do it, and I think it would be relevant and timely if I can get it done before this virus goes away. But I think we have a while with that, unfortunately. So we have a while yet where people are going to be want to be washing their hands for 20 seconds. So
hopefully that's everybody's normal.
Yes, this is true. But I mean, like, now there's an emphasis on making sure that you've done it for 20 seconds. Now, for my son, I'd like to have not only to have it remind him to do other things like actually use soap and turn the sink off after he's done, which he has a tendency not to do.
Oh.
But that's another story. Maybe I need to actually make a Raspberry Pi that listens to hear if there's a flush and alerts me if there hasn't been. Anyway.
Okay, that's funny. So you could use the screen to do a little animated, like a hand soap pump animation.
Yeah.
At the at like the 5-second mark.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I tell you before, it'll have to give you like a startup, right? Because like you do it, then you turn on the sink and put soap in your hand, I assume. So like, yeah, there has to kind of be a countdown for the countdown, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. This is a fun project that is right up there with our filling a toilet paper roll. I love this. It's it's a tremendous amount of fun. I always love hearing about the projects people are doing with Raspberry Pi, with Arduino, with all kinds of things. I always love to hear about people's projects because you get an interesting sense about the person, and we've gotten some interesting stuff about some people with your projects here. So thank you for that, and as always, I look forward to what we'll talk about next time.